5,000 naira and the goat is already yours. But make sure you slaughter it before sundown.
She is talking about her stepdaughter. Mama Chioma does not look back. She does not hesitate. She simply drops the rope into a market stranger's hand, adjusts the wrapper on her shoulder, and walks away. The same way a person walks away from a broken pot they no longer have use for. Casual, final, done. And Adaize, 18 years old, daughter of Baba Emeka, child of the late and gentle Ngozi, stands in the middle of Eke market on 4 trembling legs, surrounded by the noise and heat and indifference of 1,000 people who see nothing but a goat. She screams. God knows she screams, but what leaves her throat is a sound she does not recognize, shapeless, animal, swallowed immediately by the chaos of the market around her. A nearby trader glances over, decides the goat is lively, and nods approvingly. Lively is good. Lively means the meat will be fresh. The meat. I am not meat. The thought claws through her mind with a desperation that makes her whole body shake. I am Adaize. I am a person. Someone please look at me properly. Please see me. Nobody looks. Nobody sees. And somewhere across this same town, her father is sitting in his compound drinking morning tea, completely unaware that the woman refilling his cup is already counting the hours until he is dead. But to understand how a girl wakes up wearing an animal's body in the middle of a busy market while her father's life drains away like water through cracked clay, you have to go back 3 days. Back to the full moon Thursday that cracked Adaize's world open and showed her what was rotting underneath. Adaize has been surviving her stepmother for 6 years. Her mother, Ngozi, soft-voiced, warm-handed, the kind of woman who hummed while she cooked and meant it, died of fever when Adaize was 12. The death came quietly, the way the worst things often do. No dramatic farewell, just an empty mat one morning where a mother used to be. Baba Emeka grieved in the heavy, silent way of men who do not know what to do with pain that has no solution. He pressed it down. He kept moving. And when Mama Chioma appeared 2 years later, all warm smiles and perfect pepper soup and kind words for his kinsmen, he called it a healing. He called it a blessing. The village agreed. Even Adaize, 14 and still tender enough to hope, smiled at the wedding and told herself that perhaps this would be all right. She understood her mistake within a month. Mama Chioma's kindness was a garment she wore in public and hung carefully by the door when she came home. Inside the compound, she was something else. Adaize was up before the roosters, hauling water from the stream while the sky was still the deep purple of pre-dawn. She pounded yam until her wrists screamed. She swept, scrubbed, cooked, served, and when she finished, Mama Chioma would find something wrong, always something wrong. A pot not dried to satisfaction, a corner swept with insufficient dedication, a look on Adaize's face that was interpreted as disrespect. You think you are better than this work? Mama Chioma would hiss, low enough that Baba Emeka, dozing in his chair nearby, would not stir. Your mother raised a lazy child. No wonder she died young. God was tired of her too. Adaize learned to keep her face empty. Emptiness was armor. Emptiness kept the blows shorter. Meanwhile, Mama Chioma's daughters, Nneka and Obiageli, slept until the sun was fully committed to the day. They ate the best portions, they wore the fabrics with the brightest colors. When visitors came, Mama Chioma would pull them forward proudly, my beautiful girls, while Adaize stood behind them, holding a tray, invisible, unnamed, as though she were furniture that had learned to move on its own. Baba Emeka saw none of it, and after 6 years of hoping he would, Adaize had quietly accepted that he never would. Then came the night everything changed. Full moon, deep dry season, the kind of night where the moonlight is so fierce and white, it throws sharp shadows, and the air smells like dust and something electric, like the sky is holding its breath. Adaize cannot sleep. Something is wrong. She can feel it the way you feel a storm before a single cloud appears. She steps outside for air, into the silver-washed compound, and that is when she hears it. Chanting, low and rhythmic and very deliberate, coming beyond the banana trees at the far end of the compound. Every wise bone in her body says, "Go back inside." She does not listen. She moves towards the sound, barefoot on cool earth, patting the last broadleaf with one careful hand, and then she stops breathing entirely. Mama Chioma kneels inside a circle of white chalk. 3 women kneel with her, black wrappers pulled across their faces. Between them sits a clay pot, dark liquid coiling inside it like something alive. A small fire burns at the edge, giving off a smell that has no name in any language Adaize knows. Then one of the women speaks, clearly, deliberately, as if making a formal announcement. 3 nights. Before the 3rd night ends, the man must fall. His blood seals the covenant. His life buys our power. Mama Chioma lifts her face to the moon. Her expression is calm, satisfied, decided. Baba Emeka, she says quietly, almost lovingly, will not see the 4th sunrise. The scream rises in Adaize's chest. Baba! But her foot finds a dry branch first. The crack split the night like a gunshot. 4 heads snap towards the banana trees. Mama Chioma rises slowly, finds Adaize's eyes in the darkness, and smiles like a woman who has been waiting for exactly this moment. Adaize, she says, softly, almost lovingly, "Come, my daughter." Then she begins to speak in something ancient and directionless, and the ground rushes up, and Adaize falls through the world and does not stop until she has 4 legs and a rope around her neck. 2 nights left. Her father does not know, and the only person who can save him cannot speak a single human word. Emeka almost does not buy the goat. His father, a lean and careful man named Papa Chidi, had given one instruction: come back with a goat worth eating, not a goat worth pitying. Emeka is 16, serious-faced, with the kind of quiet that people sometimes mistake for shyness, but is actually just deep attention. He walks through Eke Market slowly, checking teeth, checking eyes, checking the general disposition of every animal tied along the seller's row. Then he reaches the post at the far end and stops. The goat tied there is not doing what goats do. It is not pulling at the rope or grinding its jaws sideways or staring blankly in the middle distance the way animals stare. It is standing very still, head slightly lowered, and it is looking at Emeka the way a person looks at another person when they are trying to decide whether or not to trust them. Emeka stands there for a very long moment, looking back. "That one, eh?" he tells his father. "That one." Papa Chidi squints. "That goat looks troubled." "I know," Emeka says. "I still want that one." They paid the woman who sold it, a round-faced woman in a green wrapper who had walked away without a backward glance, which Emeka had noticed and filed quietly in the back of his mind as strange. They lead the goat home through the afternoon heat, and the whole walk back, it moved with that same careful deliberateness, that same weight, as though every step is a conscious decision. That night, Emeka cannot sleep either. He rises just after midnight and goes to the small pen where the goat is tied. He tells himself he is just checking on it. He crouches down in the darkness, close enough to see the goat's eyes catch the moonlight, and then nearly falls backward when it speaks. Not bleats, not makes a sound that could be loosely interpreted as communication. Speaks. "Please," the voice is small, cracked at the edges like something that has been screaming for a long time and is now down to its last reserves. "Please, Do not let them kill me. I am not a goat. My name is Adaeze. I am a person. I am somebody's daughter, and my father is going to die, and I have nobody left but you." Emeka does not move for a very long time. The goat, Adaeze, watches him with those dark, still eyes and waits with the patience of someone who has already survived the worst and is simply seeing if anything good remains on the other side of it. Finally, Emeka exhales, long and slow, like a man setting down something heavy. "Okay," he whispers. "Okay, tell me everything." She tells him in pieces, urgent and breathless, pausing every time a night sound startled her. The stepmother, the chalk circle, the chanting women, the clay pot with liquid that moved on its own, the words she heard 3 nights before the 3rd night ends, and the terrible mathematics of what that means. 1 night already gone in the market, another dissolving as they crouch here in the darkness, which means her father has 1 night left. Emeka listens without interrupting. When she finishes, he is quiet for a moment. Then he asked one question. "Do you know Dibia Okonkwo, the elder from Omuna village?" Adaeze's heart lurches. Every person within 3 villages knows the name Dibia Okonkwo, the old man who lives at the edge of the forest, who sees what cannot be seen, who knows what cannot be known. People whisper about him the way they whisper about fire, with equal parts fear and desperate need. "Do you think he can help me?" "I think," Emeka said carefully, "that if anyone alive can undo what was done to you, it is him. But we have to go now, tonight, before morning." He unties her rope without another word. They move through the sleeping village like shadows, a boy and a goat, cutting through back roads and moonlit bush paths, putting distance between themselves and everything familiar. Emeka does not complain. He does not ask for reassurance or talk himself out of it, or stop to wonder whether he's making a terrible mistake. He simply walks, steady and sure, one hand loosely holding the rope, although by now both of them understand the rope is really not necessary. Dibia Okonkwo's compound sits at the tree line, small and unassuming, a single oil lamp burning in the window, as though he has been expecting visitors. When Emeka knocks, the door opens before his knuckles finish. The old man stands in the doorway, wrapped in white, studying both of them with eyes that have seen several lifetimes of human foolishness and human courage and everything in between. His gaze moves from Emeka to the goat and stays there, long, searching, reading something invisible. Then he says quietly and without surprise, "Come in, Adaeze. I have been waiting." Adaeze nearly collapses with relief. Inside, Dibia Okonkwo works quickly and without ceremony. This is a man who understands that evil does not pause for rituals to be performed at a comfortable pace. He burns herbs that smell of deep forest and early morning. He speaks in measured tones over a clay bowl of clear water. He draws a single line across the ground in white chalk and instructs Adaeze to cross it. She does. The world folds again, but gently this time, kindly, like a hand turning a page. And Adaeze lands on her knees on the earthen floor, human, shaking, gasping, her own hands pressed flat across the ground just to feel that the ground is real. She looks at her fingers, 10 of them, her own, trembling but present, and bursts into tears that had been stored for 2 full days in a body that could not cry them. Emeka looks away to give her a moment. Even Dibia Okonkwo is quiet. Then the old man speaks, and his voice carries the full weight of urgency. The woman's power is not yet broken, only interrupted. Go home, Adaeze. Go now. Run. Take your story to Igwe Nwosu before Mama Chioma realizes what has happened. Every minute you spend here is a minute she spends preparing. Adaeze runs. Through bush paths and back roads and the first pale light of early morning breaking over the rooftops of her village, she runs with everything left in her. When she burst into Igwe Nwosu's compound, breathless and wild-eyed, and still wearing the dust of 2 days of terror, The king's guards move to stop her, but she speaks before they can. I am going to be killed tonight, and I have proof, and I will say everything in front of everyone. Something in her voice, the rawness of it, the absolute certainty of a person who has nothing left to lose, makes the guards step aside. The trial happens in the village square before the sun reaches its highest point. The whole community gathers, as communities do when something is finally cracking open after being sealed too long. Mama Chioma stands in the center, composed, smooth, unreadable, wearing her public face like a shield. She calls Adaize a disturbed child. She calls the accusations madness. She spreads her hands and looks at the crowd with the expression of a woman deeply wounded by false claims. Then, Igwe Nwosu holds up the clay cup, the water of truth, dark, still, carrying a smell like deep earth and old thunder. Igwe Nwosu says nothing elaborate. He simply extends it, and the crowd goes silent, and the silence itself becomes a kind of pressure. Mama Chioma's composure fractures by degrees, a trembling hand, a tightening jaw, eyes that dart once towards the path out of the village and find it blocked. She drinks because there is no world left in which she does not drink. And then she speaks. All of it. The hatred she wore beneath the kindness for 6 years, the chalk circles, the chanting women, the clear pot with liquid that moved on its own, the words she heard 3 nights before the 3rd night ends, and the terrible mathematics of what that means. 1 night already gone in the market, another dissolving as they crouch here in the darkness, which means her father has 1 night left. Igwe Nwosu rises. You are banished, he said simply. Before this sun sets, you are gone from this village and everything in it forever. Baba Emeka finds his daughter in the crowd and holds her for a long time without speaking. When he finally pulls back to look at her face, his eyes are wet, and his voice, when it comes, is the voice of a man who has just understood the cost of his blindness. Adaize, I did not see. I should have seen. I am sorry. I am deeply sorry. She does not tell him it is fine, because it was not fine. But she takes his hands and she holds them, and she decides that this moment of honesty between them is where they begin again. What part of this story shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments.
The moral is simple, and it is old, and it is always true. Evil is patient. It dresses well, it learns your name and uses it softly and sits at your table and pours your tea. But truth is more patient still. It survives transformation, humiliation, and silence. It survives being sold for 5,000 naira in a busy market where nobody is looking. It finds one person willing to listen, just one, and that is enough. If you are in a season where your voice has been taken from you, hold on. The right person is still coming, and when they arrive, speak every word you have been carrying. The truth you carry is never too small to set someone free. If you think you've seen it all, wait till you hear of the woman who turned her stepdaughter into a black cat. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today.